to you by the Legacy FHP. That is the Legacy Foundation for Human Progress. What's up? Oh, nice. Well, we're back in the mix. We thought we had some technical difficulties, which we thought we might have, but I guess we're rolling good. Um, Welcome back to the channel if you are a new listener. And if you aren't, you know the other way around. Welcome back if you are a subscriber. If you're a new guest, welcome. I hope you enjoy what we have to say. We want to talk about all the breaking events, all the fun, juicy topics pertaining to, I guess, the cosmic question, the UAP phenomena. Today is a big day in history. Trump is officially the president. His inauguration, he was sworn in today. A lot of ruckus, a lot of commotion about what's happening in the entire ceremony itself, and we will dive into that. And we also want to address his huge promise to us as a people to disclose not only what's happening in New Jersey, but disclose what's happening with the UAP phenomenon all across the country. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to go down some rabbit holes. So I hope you guys enjoy the ride. Let's dive into it. You know me. My name is Dedrick Baker, D-Bake the Wise. Socials are in the description. I'm joined by my brother, Magmaslav. And what do you got to say, brother? So let's, I guess, play some inauguration clips, right? You want to check that out? Let me share my screen with you so you can see what I'm playing for the people. Oh, I'm not doing this on the live stream, probably. So Trump was talking about some interesting stuff today. He's talking about getting to Mars. Do you hear that? That's what actually took my attention the most. Um, I'm gonna play some of the clips right now. Let's see. I think we're having some technical difficulties. I think, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, we can't. There we go. Are you in there? Start talking.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
Can't we hear you yet? Are you
Hey,
in there?
Chilla, can you hear me?
Might be a little bit delayed.
Maybe. Let's see.
I just allowed you on the
Oh, I
same
think that
audio track.
worked. Yep, that worked.
You can hear
I can
yourself now?
verify. Yeah, I can hear myself.
Yeah.
Um,
My
all I
busy.
said,
You're right. You're right.
well, all y'all missed out on so far is I initially said with this legacy channel, we want to be able to cover more live events. We do this in our spare time, mostly Sunday mornings. But with your support, we can do this more frequently and not only cover Forbidden Scrolls, reading through sacred texts and all that, but also analyzing whatever's going on in the world with our cosmic perspective, whatever that may be. Um, and what I had just said was, I went into work this morning
While I
listening
was
to the
muted.
yeah, while I was muted. Thank you, D-Bake. um, I was listening to the inauguration while I was going into work, and I love the patriotic fanfare circus music, especially when like Bill and Hillary Clinton were coming on and all that. They had all the previous presidents coming up and standing up and all that. It totally sounded like circus music, and I just found myself cracking up, trying to keep a straight face. But all in all, I'm pretty excited about the whole thing. I know Trump's a very controversial figure. There are some things he's planning day one. A lot of people are pissed about. A lot of things we're all excited about at the same time. Uh, just the president of the United States, whatever. Um, my hope with all this is the Illuminati is not involved. You know me, I'm always going to take the
You're
conspiratorial
funny.
angle, but I got a good feeling maybe the deep state will get exposed. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens too. 2024 was a big year for Trump. He was making a lot of
Mm.
announcements. He was talking big, talking like he knew some stuff. We'll get into it. I will bring those clips up right now. Sorry about the technical difficulty. Sorry about the audio. Sometimes it happens. You click some boxes. You're recording. You're streaming. You're whatever. But yeah, let's dive into it. Let's watch some clips from the inauguration. I don't want He said a lot of risque and spicy things, and I don't
As
really
he
want
does.
to cover that at the moment. So we're going to focus on the topics that we like to focus on, which is space. And
Mm.
it's kind of gnarly. Like I said, he mentioned some really strong topics in his inaugural speech. He also mentioned topics about space in his inaugural speech. So that means it's an important subject. The leader of the greatest nation to ever exist on planet Earth is talking about going to space. So when that's happening and we have a real space force, that's an actual branch in our military, especially with all the military whistleblowers that are coming out right now talking about these secret programs being part of crash retrieval
Mm.
programs. This is the guy who's in charge of it. He's the commander in chief legally. So when he says something about it in his inaugural address, even before he gets into office, it's something that we should consider. It's something that we should pay attention to. It's something that we should notice. So that's just how I'm looking at the situation. He actually mentioned getting to space, so I don't know. Let's take a look at what he has to say.
Let's take a look.
Shit, they might not be able to hear it.
Oh, D-Bake, would you be able to
Taylor,
share
can you
your
hear that?
screen?
Taylor, can you hear that or not?
No, I can't hear that on the live stream. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Glad
Chrome
Tay Chill
audio
is
needs to
here,
come out of first.
our spirit
Yeah, I need to
supervisor.
put Chrome on number 1 too. There you go. All right, now we should be good.
That it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free. The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
That's right. American space boy. Like we haven't already been to Mars, he's talking. It's so funny. Elon Musk throwing up Nazi
Oh,
symbols.
he is excited. That one guy looks kind of
Ambition.
I don't like what he did, man.
Is the
We'll talk about
lifeblood
that.
of a great nation. And right now our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken.
That's a strong speech right there. Those are some strong words. I was like, was he freestyling or what? Is that written down? 'Cause
Captain Kirk,
I
this is
stand
a
before
President
you
Biden
now
who
as
can tie his
proof that
shoes.
you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best.
Amen. He said that. I was like, I'm not super
From
down
New
with
York
Donald
to
Trump,
Los
but
Angeles, from
like
Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and
Shout out to the
soldiers,
Native
cowboys
Americans.
and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride.
Amen.
Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced.
God
After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America, promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We're going to win like never before.
You're going to win so much. You're going to be sick of winning.
Some people say I'm the best winner.
Billions and billions of wins.
I used to know Wins. We were friends back in high school.
Thank
We
you.
went to college together.
In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater than ever before. We will be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We will be prosperous. We will be proud. We will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, man, that's a powerful speech. I mean, like,
Yeah.
all things considered, Trump's an asshole, but I love his attitude like that. And I mean, that looks like a leader up there, especially there's a lot to organize and keep orchestrated when running a country. So it's good that at least for 4 years, we'll see our economy get better and we'll focus on our country. I mean, like, the resources we spend in foreign affairs, if we spent that here, we would definitely be in a better place. Um, my question is, how are we going to get to Mars if we haven't even landed on the moon yet? I mean, they had a they,
Wow.
they had a pretty good movie set for the moon.
Wow.
Are they are they just going to shoot a documentary out in Nevada or something?
This guy.
Just kidding, just kidding. We most likely landed on the moon.
Episode 2. This time we got to Mars on set. Okay, so that's a
great.
crazy. Let's hit that for 5 minutes. 5 minute rabbit hole. Let's do it. No longer than
Mm.
5 minutes. What do you mean by
Okay.
this? What these you're assembling words in a unique way that's making me confused.
Okay.
You're talking about not getting to the moon? Are you saying the moon is a hoax?
Oh
Don't tell
man,
me,
I
or not the moon's a hoax. The moon landing's a hoax. Are you one of those flat earthers? Give it to me. What do you? Give me your evidence.
I would have to pull up a video. I can't think of it right now, so I'm a little ill prepared for this. But
I'm on your
there was
side.
some there
I'll
was
pull
one
it up.
guy who went into a deep dive. I can't remember his name. But here I could probably pull it. Let's see. What am I saying? I could probably pull it up.
Yeah, give me the spiel. I'll pull up the porthole video.
Moon. Yeah, no, I think I got it here.
All right.
All right. There's a little
So
clip.
I believe that we did get to the moon. That I was
Yeah.
taught that. I was conditioned from birth, and I'm believing my conditioning at the moment. I want to believe.
In
I
fact,
do
you
believe
may
in certain
just
different ways, but
you
it
you may
might
believe a
be
little
too
more
gnarly.
than
A
you
little
you
more
you
than the
may
average person.
you may actually believe we made it a little further than the moon.
Yeah, and maybe even earlier than the Apollo missions. But no, okay, what, you got something? Hit me with it. Because I know all the theories. I'm just playing dumb right now for the viewers. Yeah. What you got?
I'm scanning through a video here to see if I can pull up this clip. But there
So
was huh.
I was gonna say there's some interesting interviews with Buzz Aldrin, low key
Oh, yeah.
saying that we didn't get to the moon, and that's, I don't know if it's out of context, but you're like, wait a second, why is he saying that? He also, I think, said that he saw
Oh yeah, this
flying saucers or like other ships that were around them the entire time from the time they launched to the time back. Um, that's some far out kind of stuff. A lot of people have kind of written off Buzz Aldrin for that reason, for sort of talking like that in the New Age spiritual community, but or
Okay, here we
talking like
go.
he was from that community. That's why they wrote him off. But
All right, here I'll screen share. I got a little clip since
you
we're
got
kind of
something?
surprised going on this tangent. Um, all right, here we go. All right, can you see my
I hear you,
screen?
Captain Kirk. I know. I used to be in the same camp, dude, and now it's like, there's a lot of evidence that makes you question some weird stuff.
All right, can you see my screen right now?
Let me see real quick. I got you.
Okay, cool. So this was something I thought was interesting. It's a clip of they're halfway between the moon and the Earth, and there's supposed to be a delay from the time it takes the radio transmission to get from the space shuttle to the Earth and then back. So the astronauts are waiting on a response, and you can hear a CIA agent say, "Okay, now talk." And then what's supposed to be the Earth is apparently actually a circular viewport. They're viewing the Earth kind of up close from, to give the illusion that it's far away. And then they cut the lights on, and you can kind of see what's going on. So here, I'll play
So
this.
basically, this is the outtake. We have the unedited reel. That's why it said don't show to the public at the beginning. And here they are removing part of the transparency in front of the window and part of the special effect. That's a work light inside of the spacecraft. And then the lights come up, and you see that they're in Earth orbit all the time. And we're using a 1 foot model of the Earth using the
Oh,
circular
wow.
window.
Now that's pretty dang weird, I gotta say. And that coupled with
Yeah.
the stuff of Buzz Aldrin, basically, I mean, I saw one point where he was talking to a little girl, and she's like, "Buzz, why haven't we been back to the moon?" And he's just like, "Because we never went." Now, with
Yeah.
all that said,
Exactly.
I don't want to totally crap on the moon landing because it is like the coolest achievement. I think as a nation. I do also realize there was I saw a really good movie, Hidden Figures, and it shows these uh, like the triumph of these black women working at NASA in the early days when they're jumping over all the barriers to do so, and their calculators doing math for it. But that movie actually reveals just how urgent and important it was to make it to the moon. Um, and
End your share
basically,
screen. Can you end that?
oh yeah, basically beat uh, Russia in the space race and all that. Um, so they definitely had a motive, and if they're running out of time, maybe they would have thrown something together. But with that said, I still would like to believe we landed on the moon. I heard the flag has actually fallen over since then. Um, and I believe
How?
someone's been able to verify even through a telescope image that the flag is there, maybe. So I don't know. I'm not going to totally shit on that, but it's a fun theory to go back and forward with. Um, oh, one of the other big things is apparently there's a field of radiation uh, just past the Earth's orbit, like where satellites orbit and all that, that human beings haven't figured out how to travel through yet. Especially the suits at the time would have been resistant to that radiation. And they would have had to pass
Yeah.
through that radiation field, but
Yeah, it's called the Van Allen radiation belt.
that's it.
It's supposed to be like extremely strong radiation. Uh, it's supposed to fry silicon chips and even give biological material radiation poisoning.
Yeah.
I guess there was a conference where NASA was questioned with this by a reporter, and NASA said that, well, it's the equivalent of, when you lick your finger and like swipe it through a flame like a candle and you don't get
Mm,
burnt.
mm.
That's why the astronauts stay alive and the computer chips don't get fried when they're
It's a pretty cool
flying through
explanation.
the radiation belt. It is, but I'm not buying it. I mean, that's not super scientific, you know.
Yeah.
And
See,
it is
it's
a pretty thick belt. There is another theory that says that
mm,
the human body can pass through the belt, but any type of footage or film that's brought through it will get fried. So we did
interesting.
get to the moon, but the footage got fried on the way back, and that's why they
Ooh,
had to replicate it in a studio.
Oh,
So the footage is
interesting.
fake, but they wanted to show the world that we really did get there.
Wouldn't
And when
that
we
suck?
did get there, we found an alien craft in an alien city
So they couldn't
on the
show it.
moon.
Now on the different take that we actually did get to the moon, I do remember hearing an audio clip of the astronauts talking like, "Do you see that? What is that?" And it sounds like they're describing structures on the moon or something like that. But you know what? It's something that's fun to think about. That's not the hill I'm going to die on. I don't have very strong
No, me
feelings about it
neither.
one way or another.
Yeah,
Oh God, don't
exactly.
even bring up
Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick, Captain Kirk. No, don't
Exactly.
send me down that
Yeah,
rabbit hole.
yeah, that's what I'm
Eyes
saying.
wide
Yeah,
shut.
and it's a fun thing to talk about, thing to think about. Like I said, I want to believe that we got to the moon conventionally. Actually, I low key, I go deep with it, dog. Uh, speaking of Nazis, because we have to pull that up. I don't want to bring. I'm not political or nothing, but I'm anti-Nazi. I'm anti that kind of shit, whatever it is. I love Nazi history. I'm a fanatic. I
Yeah.
like reading it, but the only good Nazi is a dead Nazi, right? Um,
The occult
so like,
origins of Nazis is a very interesting subject, which we'll probably
oh,
do a
very
deep dive
much, and
of
we'll do
at some
episodes on
point.
it for sure. Aryans, where the term Aryan comes from, but
Mm.
we're not doing it right now because Elon Musk did this weird
Here, I
Nazi
can share my
salute.
screen and pull that
He
up.
did
I
it
got it
twice.
here.
No, send me the link so I can do it. So I can just do it.
Okay,
I'll make it big.
I'll share the image in production room, and then I also shared
Oh, it's just the image. I'll have to
a
skip the
a
video.
little meme that goes with it. I actually I didn't notice it because I had my phone in my pocket, my headphones on at work, so I was just listening to the audio pretty much. So I missed him doing that, but this it's kind of goofy. I don't know what he's up to, but I just shared a nice still image in the production room as well as a little meme to go along with it.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you. My heart goes out to you.
Looking all crazy, dog. I didn't share my screen with you, but I'll do it for you right now.
Oh,
The people got to see it. All right, you see that?
what the hell was that? Okay, crank it back and play the audio. What was he saying at that point?
I'm sharing my video with you on Discord right now.
Okay, here I got it.
That's what I'm saying. This is the craziest shit I've ever fucking seen, dog. like, like, is this happening?
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
What is that?
Right?
What is
My
that?
heart goes out to you.
Oh, my
I don't
heart.
care
goes
Ladies
what
and
you
out.
gentlemen.
say. Yeah, I don't care what you say, dude.
My heart
That's
goes out.
sketchy. Zig, how? Oh, he starts. What's up with all these Nazis appearing out of the fucking woodwork, dog? I thought they were stomped out in
Interesting.
World War II. I thought we got rid of their
Yeah,
ass,
right.
and they're still around. Does that
Oof.
bring us to the underground Nazi Antarctica UFOs? Did they really survive the war?
Oh man, we're gonna have to do a deep dive on this in another
Werner von
episode.
Braun, Elon Musk, come on, dude. The
Elon Musk,
connections are
Elon
deep.
Musk is an interesting character because I got very mixed feelings about him. On one hand, I'm
Bring it to the
old,
UFO Antarctica bases.
I
But
on
that's
one
fucked
hand
up,
I'm old.
dude. That I don't know, dude. You can't. I've been saying Elon Musk is the Antichrist for a while. Everybody's
Is the Antichrist.
fanboying, jumping on his nuts because he created PayPal, dude. He's not freaking Iron Man. He's
That
not a
is like how we
scientist,
got
Tony
rich.
Stark.
Yeah,
That's not he hires other people to do this. He buys
of
companies. He's
course.
not like the smartest person. So like everybody's fanboying over him like he's such an intelligent person. Dude, no, he created PayPal. That's what he did. That's his intelligence right there. He's trying to put chips in your head. He's trying to put microchips in your brain. If that dude, if that ain't the devil, I don't know what is, man.
Well,
You can do
he did have his profile picture on Twitter for a while, but before he made it X was like him in a Satan costume.
yeah.
It was
It was
like
marketable
it
for
didn't
a
look
while,
like
but
it
now,
until you see the full image, and it's like it's Satan armor kind of thing.
yeah, yep.
And not to mention his mom is a fashion designer, and she's done some pretty sketchy looking, like upside down cross, bleeding eye looking stuff. I don't know. It's that's a whole rabbit hole to go down. I'll just say I've heard it going off the Elon Musk conspiracies.
The
I've
story that
heard.
kind of disappeared.
I wish I could find the video. I'll pull it up someday. Maybe we'll do a dive on it. I don't know. But I had heard his parents in the 70s were in a commune, and it was like a scientism cult or something, where it was all transhumanist. In the future we'll integrate with technology, upload our brains to computers, whatever. And now it kind of seems like he's fulfilling this prophecy, whatever. And I mean, there was also in 1952, Werner von Braun wrote a fiction novel called Project Mars, which described a man named Elon who would be the king of Mars. He would roll over the
So,
red planet. So,
hello, and hello, the leader of the W World Economic
Werner
Forum.
von Braun
No, Werner von Braun, a Nazi scientist
was a
that we
Nazi.
stole from World War II. Supposedly, he would hang the slowest Jews at the front of the camp that was making rockets for him. And as a legit SS officer, straight up Nazi through and through. We got all their scientists at the end of World War II. Everybody knows this story, Operation Paperclip.
Project Paperclip.
And then we just made them we installed them into our government as if they wouldn't stay Nazis.
As if they wouldn't say Nazis.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
Captain Kirk makes a good point and says Elon has Asperger's. I think it was an awkward love salute. So to
I
play
thought
the
that,
Elon's
but
advocate,
he's smarter than that. He knows what he's doing. Those are words he
he,
can say to play it off, you know.
so I also saw the rally last night, and he briefly did like a 40-second interview, and he was super awkward. You could tell he was very nervous, and he basically started through the entire thing. But you do have multitudes
He's
of
a
thousands of
troll.
people watching you.
He's the
You
biggest
know,
troll.
the social pressure. I get that. So I mean to play Elon's advocate. I am pumped up about a lot of the stuff he's doing, especially by claiming Twitter, renaming it as X, and becoming super based about it to where it's all opened up to freedom of speech. I think that was a good move. But is it the hidden hand? Uh, the
Yes,
Freemasons or something
yes.
moving
It
their
is the
pieces
hidden
around on
hand.
the
He is the
chessboard,
hidden
creating a
hand.
false dichotomy? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, all of his biggest contracts are from the government. SpaceX is just another shell corporation for the space program, the government, you know. Those are his biggest
Which I guess
contracts.
NASA is anyway. Um, but whatever the case, in our lifetime, we might get to go to space, which would be pretty cool. That's like our dream, you know, growing up watching Cowboy Bebop and stuff. It's like I want to be a space cowboy. Um,
Yeah,
did you
with
ever?
Nazis? You're gonna sell your soul? You want to be a space
Not
cowboy
with
with
Nazis.
Nazis?
That's I don't want to get theosophy in the mix here. With
I want to go
did
down the
you
deep rabbit hole.
did you ever hear about Asgardia, the space nation?
Keep going. I'm interested.
Dude, so this was I think back in 2016, 2015. I got hooked on this. There was this guy, I can't even remember. Here, I'll pull it up so I can remember his
It
name.
all makes sense
Asgardia,
now.
the space nation. He was the president of a here, let me Wikipedia article will tell me who it is. All right. Um Igor Asherbali. He was a Azerbaijani Russian scientist, businessman, and head of the micronation Asgardia, the space nation. He is also the leader of the Party of Russia's Rebirth since 2016. So he's this very wealthy, influential businessman over there, and he's basically I got really hyped about this back in 2016. Um, he was
I bet
he
you
had a,
did.
he had a website up, and he was like, "Join our email list now to become a resident of this. When it gets up and running, it could be 20 or 30 years, but in the future, when we get this up and running, basically his plan is to create a space station that is its own nation, and you can go live on this space station orbiting the Earth, and it will be some utopian paradise. Sounds like maybe Bioshock, System Shock kind of thing might happen. I don't know. You know, it could probably easily go wrong. But his idea is Earth
That fool is
geopolitics are
crazy.
plagued with war and borders and all this. So if we create a space nation, it will be like a fresh start, kind of like what America was envisioned when everyone came over here to try to create a new nation. Um, who's to say that won't also get compromised? I don't know, but that's going to be in our lifetime, bro. We're gonna go to Mars. We're gonna have a space nation.
Yeah, that that whole space nation on a space station sounds kind of fucking scary to me. I don't want to get trapped on some janky, whatever, half put together
That's the
thing.
thing.
No,
I
but
I
I
don't
hear
know
what
if
you're
I want to
saying.
live in space.
I'd do it if it was like the Star Trek Enterprise, for sure. Like Starfleet.
If there
Starfleet
were
is how I imagine it.
gardens and animals and stuff, but I mean, like
The
getting that natural
holodeck.
sunlight and yeah.
Come on, just go warp speed to the nearest Class M planet.
If we can
Transport
figure out warp
down, you're good.
technology, yeah. If
Oh,
we
like
don't
we have it
already have
already.
warp technology.
But
All right, so bringing it back,
so
bringing it back.
Elon doing Nazi salute. Nazi writing about Elon Werner von Braun. Uh, you know Werner von Braun and the rest of the Nazi scientists when they first got captured and they were told to make a rocket, they made a bunk rocket and they programmed it to like hit the command center of the place they were working at. Like the first two or
What?
three purposely went wrong and they came back and like hit like the American facilities. And then the
Interesting.
Americans realized that they were doing it on purpose and they threatened to kill them or start working with the program. So they finally
Whoa.
started working with the program. That's the
What
official
happens when you
word,
hire
but
Nazi scientists?
well, let's get deeper
Hey,
with
what,
that.
what, what do you think?
We're going down deep, deep, deep. We only got 7 viewers right now, so let's go down the rabbit hole. Only you guys
Yeah,
get to
why
hear
not?
this crazy shit. No, it's gonna be up, so anybody can hear it. Um, supposedly, there's a contingency plan for the continuation of government of the Nazi Reich. And remember, they were the first to have U-boats and submarines. And when we, I guess, captured them, there was a lot of missing U-boats, a lot of missing
Hmm.
submarines, really big ones, huge ones. And they found the maps, they found it on paper, and they even had large underground submarine bases in Antarctica, like huge, huge
Interesting.
complexes. Like we have Cheyenne Mountain Complex, like those kind of complexes under the ice in
Hmm.
Antarctica. Their contingency plan was to follow an underwater ridge line that you can like follow South America all the way off the coast to Argentina. And when Argentina gets tiny, there's like an underwater shelf that you can follow, and it leads right into the continent of Antarctica. And underneath there's some shelves, I guess, where they made those submarine bases. Um, a couple of the subs that fled when the Nazis lost the war, they I guess couldn't make it and they had to resurface because they're out of fuel or there's something wrong with their sub. And they
Hmm.
resurfaced off the coast of Argentina. There's news articles about this. And these ships were filled with
Okay.
officers and people that were fleeing. And they even said their story like our plan was to get to the underwater Antarctica bases, but we couldn't make it because our ship was damaged. And they assimilated into the local population. This happened with I
Okay.
think two or three boats, and that's why there's a lot of Argentinian descendants in or German Argentinian descendants. There,
Hmm.
that's why people believe Hitler made it to Antarctica, because there was a lot of missing U-boats,
Oh God, and he
we
just
found
never
that this
died.
is yeah, and this was their contingency plan. So let's imagine, just for the sake of having tinfoil on our head, that these Nazis made it to Antarctica and they created a breakaway civilization. So now there's non-German speaking Germans that are from Germany, but they start, having babies over there and creating their own generations. So they're speaking German of German ancestry, but they're not from Germany. They're Antarctic Germans. And supposedly they had this is where they stored the anti-gravitic technology, the Nazi bell, the Die Glock.
Well, okay, so I'm sure you heard about this because you've gone very deep down this rabbit hole, but Admiral Byrd, there was that time
That was
in
my next point.
history. Okay, yeah, there's that time in history where you had all these pilots competing in races, which Sir Hubert Wilkins was up against Admiral Byrd, and he went on to fund the Ranchi book, which is pretty interesting. But apparently, when Admiral Byrd randomly got hired by the U.S. military, I guess it was the Navy or something, to lead a fleet of all these ships and stuff to Antarctica, and apparently he confronted some Nazis and they showed him like a flying saucer in a hangar or something like that. And he just came back like with his tail between his legs. And there was a newspaper article. You can find it if you want to do some kind of research, but um it's a newspaper article with a quote from him saying like our adversaries in the very near future will have the ability to zip around to any point in the world within a matter of seconds. Now,
Yeah.
my theory on that is what if assuming all this is true, what if these Nazis showed him just like a big old styrofoam, aluminum covered flying saucer? And they're like, "Hey, this puppy can fly around the world in a few seconds," and it was all fake, but it tripped them out because I know the U.S. has employed these tactics in Vietnam, having like fake ships and stuff like that just to trip out the enemy.
Oh, well, so you're saying the Nazi UFOs were fake blowups that fooled Admiral Byrd?
Maybe.
It's a hot take. It's a hot take. Well, we do know that Admiral Byrd had like an aircraft carrier fleet that was sent to Antarctica to defeat any Nazi survivors. That's an interesting order. It was kind of top secret, hush hush, and then he did come back saying, "Oh my God, we can't even battle them. The next war, we're going to battle an enemy that has the capability to traverse the entire planet in a matter of minutes or seconds." So that's an interesting note. And the conspiracy is with that anti-gravity technology, they were able to harness a certain grip on the world and pretty much, I guess, not blackmail, but just straight up strong arm the rest of the world into
Yeah,
doing what you
they got
want.
some
Like,
leverage. Yeah.
yeah, they have leverage. Like, we have anti-grav technology. You have to play our game. Even though our Nazis don't kill us because you can't kill us. We have the UFOs. Make Antarctica illegal to step on. We'll create the Young Global Leaders Initiative and the WF and the WHO. Klaus Schwab. Klaus
Yeah, that
Schwab.
character, man.
He's the grandson of like one of the General Schwabs in the SS in the Nazi army, who they named Antarctica after, New Schwabia.
New
That's what they
Schwabenland or
called
something.
New
Yeah.
Schwabenland, New Schwabenland. So the plot thickens, and like, so if they're
Plot
still alive
thickens.
down there and they're low key like procreating and putting out people for world leadership, it's interesting. Remember
So,
Justin Trudeau? Justin Trudeau came from the
mm,
WHO and the WF, and not too long ago, he had a Nazi paraded in the Canadian Parliament right when the
mm,
Ukraine war started. Remember, they were like, this, he fought the
mm,
Russians, da 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 da, and then you realize this is a Nazi. Like they were like
interesting.
showing him high honors because he was a freedom fighter against the Russians. And you realize, what do you mean it was a freedom fighter against the Russians? Oh, he was a Nazi. That's how he fought against the Russians.
That that's a scary thought. That's unsettling. Um,
So it seems like there's a lot of Nazi sympathy happening. I don't
Now,
know why.
man, we could do a whole episode on Antarctica, and we could do a whole episode on like the occult origins of the Nazi Party, because man, they basically invented their own religion, um, riddled with occult rituals and all that. But I won't get into all that. What I can say though, some hard facts. This isn't even speculation. Is that um George Bush Sr. So, we got George Bush Jr., George Bush Sr., his father, um, blanking on his name right now, but Grandpa Bush, um, he actually, from my understanding, had this successful steel operation and he directly funded the Nazi Party. And if it weren't for him doing that, I don't know if the
Oh
Nazi
yeah.
Party would have taken off the way they did. So, kind of sketchy. Then Bush becomes president. We get 9/11 and all this stuff. And like, I don't know. There's all different sorts of sketchiness going on there.
Yeah, there's some weird geopolitical games going on. And hopefully, we'll figure it out. You know,
Hopefully, we'll figure it out.
Trump keeps talking about trying to figure this out, and I'm like, all right, bro, if you can do it, do it. But let's see what happens. All right, now he did make a promise. I do want to put this up. He made a promise to disclose all the UFO UAP activity that's happening in New Jersey, and even to release the bigger files. So let's take a look at that. I guess I'll share my screen for you.
Please.
You see it?
All right. Yes, sir.
Here, very suddenly. Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you had said that you thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know. They're over Bedminster a lot, so I can imagine. I'm going to give you a report on drones about 1 day into the administration, because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only with me. Glenn was telling me today that in Virginia they have drones all over the place too, and nobody's reporting it. I don't know why they're not. Do you want to say something about that?
Just one quick comment, which is we are home to the largest naval base in the world in Quantico, and we house a lot of the SEAL teams and have a huge national security infrastructure. And now for 2 years running, we have had drone incursion over secure airspace, and we still don't know why. And I think that's absolutely unacceptable. And I think President Trump and the new leadership coming in, I think will work diligently to understand who's behind this and what we do in order to stop the digital surveillance of all of our secure infrastructure.
Is it dangerous?
Well, I can tell you this. While we were dealing with a terrorist attack in New Orleans, we had drones being flown over our nuclear reactors in Louisiana. And we brought that attention to the FAA. We've been asking the FAA to give these states the ability to mitigate these drones, and it's sitting on some bureaucrat's desk. And that's real.
I gotta pause there. That guy has such a Creole Louisiana accent.
Nobody knows. They don't want to talk about it. Go ahead, Governor. You're going to say?
I was just going to say we have drones in Wyoming flying over our infrastructure as well. And it's incredibly frustrating that we not only have no way of knowing what it is, but nobody knows how to deal with them.
They don't want to talk about it, and nobody knows why. They don't want to talk about it. That could be us sending drones. I hope that's the case, us doing it and doing research, and maybe they don't want to talk about it from that standpoint. I hope it's not an enemy, but we're going to find out on the 21st, the day after. You have to give me a little time for the inauguration, but shortly thereafter, we'll give you a report on it. We'll tell you exactly what it is. They know, and it's very strange that they aren't talking about it. Peter, thank you very much. Does Biden does he do this kind of a news conference?
This is my longest ever interview of a president.
Yeah, well, the longest ever before this was one question, and they would rush you out of the room, right? But we have nothing to hide. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, see, that's the stuff that makes me excited about this new administration is hopefully it is a accurate representation of what the American people actually want is just answers. And Trump as a character, say what you want about him. He's a businessman. He's a hard-boiled businessman. He's going to be an asshole. But one thing I do know is he understands business. He's made himself a millionaire, lost it, made himself a millionaire again. So, don't follow advice from someone who hasn't successfully followed through on that advice. But if someone's a millionaire, maybe he can employ those tactics to enrich America, and then we all benefit. We'll see what happens. Anything goes, anything could happen. But I've heard a lot of theories about the drones. A lot of theories about the drones. One hilarious theory I think is that everyone's just taking pictures of regular like FedEx planes flying by and misidentifying them. But I heard one interesting theory that this could have been a mass hiring of drone operators for some big operation, and they're testing people's ability to discreetly fly these drones and get away with it. And then, of course, there's the Tesla bomber angle that these could be employing some anti-gravity propulsion. And then, of course, it could be a false flag to try to get us into war with Iran, something like that. But hopefully we get some answers.
That's what I want to know. And hopefully he starts pulling the threads for disclosure. Because if they are using anti-gravity, if they are using some type of alternative propulsion technology and that the public can benefit from this, then I think Captain Kirk, if they're not Chinese, all bets are off. Some type of cold fusion, it needs to be harnessed. Like I said in the previous stream, if we don't get UFO disclosure, as long as we get some anti-grav disclosure, that'd be cool. As long as we get some cold fusion, some type of alternative propulsion, that'd be nice. 0 point energy.
Free energy for the world would be great. It would be something that's been a long time coming, since like the 1860s. I got a clip pulled up if you're ready for it. But on that exact note, Trump just told his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, on the fly to immediately find out for him what the drone scare was so he can tell the people. There's a little 30-second clip here.
Okay. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. All right. What you got?
All right, here we go.
I think it's terrible. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay? Yeah, why don't we find out immediately?
Why don't we find out?
I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting, right?
And with the events today, and
All right, there we go. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Any thoughts on that? Otherwise, I can kind of just move forward through this.
No, it just shows that he made the conscious effort to actually bring it up, even during his first seconds sitting in the Oval Office. So let's hope he actually put some energy behind that, because a lot of people talk, a lot of these presidents talk and don't deliver. So, the UFO subject has been a big nothing burger. We supposedly got some good stuff from News Nation and this chicken egg getting suspended from a chicken wire, but you guys have been seeing the memes. But yeah, I'd like to see what he has to say. I guess I'm gonna play one more clip from him right now to get some more context. Then we can just make some comments, and we can wrap it up. We don't have to stay too much longer.
I got a few in the chamber here, if you don't mind, after you play your clip and we talk about it.
For sure. Alrighty, I'll share my screen.
Oh, here, I better. Here we go.
But I was asked not to do it, and I.
So this is for some context. He went on the Joe Rogan Experience. Shout out to Big Brother Joe. Very controversial to have Trump on. He invited Kamala on, but for some reason she did not want to go on. I don't know why. So it was a great conversation. And how about you just come talk on the show?
Yeah.
She didn't want to be seen with her human skin suit going over a reptilian exoskeleton. But no, it was cool that he was able to get on and just talk his talk, and the UFO topic came up. So I want to play it for y'all.
I thought that was a reasonable ask, but now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it very soon. There's a lot of interest in it.
One of the things that
there's a lot of interest in the people coming from space,
Yes.
And I know you're interested in that.
Oh, I'm very interested in that. How much did they tell you about that?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd they tell you? How much can you tell?
So
how's that work? Is it like super top secret?
I can tell,
Tell me.
Well, based on Hunter Biden, I can say whatever the hell I want, right? But no.
Joe Rogan's
but I
really into this.
interviewed a few people. It's never been my thing, I have to be honest. I have never been a believer. I have people that Area 51 or whatever it is. I think it's the #1 tourist attraction in the whole country or something. Area 51 in Las Vegas. Do you know that, right?
Sure, I know what it is.
So anyway, but it's a big tourist thing. So I interviewed jet pilots that say they saw something. If you saw them, you'd love to have them as your
I've had a
son.
couple in here. Commander David Fravor.
Yeah.
I had him in, who had that sighting in 2004. Very compelling with video evidence, radar evidence. Ryan Graves.
I don't believe his name, but I interviewed jet pilots that were solid people. Perfect. I mean, great pilots, great everything. And they said, we saw things, sir, that were very strange. Like a round ball, but it wasn't a comet or a meteor. It was something. And it was going 4 times faster than an F-22, which is a very fast plane, you know. And it was round, which is, in theory, a great shape.
So when you were talking to these people, was this something that you were compelled to have conversations about? Was this your personal interest?
No, a little bit. It's not a great interest for me, but it's a little interest. I get that question as much as almost any question. Do you think that we have aliens coming, flying around or whatever?
What do you think?
There's no reason not to. I mean, there's no reason not to think that Mars and all these planets don't have life, because
Mars, we've had probes there and rovers, and
Mars,
I don't think there's any life there.
Well, maybe it's life that we don't know, but maybe
there was
different
life
kind
there
of
at one point in time. This is a speculation about Mars, that Mars had an atmosphere at one point in time, a long time ago, that could support life. It also had large bodies of water, but we've had no evidence of even bacterial life that exists on Mars. But the universe is pretty vast.
It's not been a big thing for me. I mean, when I looked at what China did to this, they would have never done it with me, where they put the balloon up, and a lot of people thought for a little while that was one of these things. So,
well, that's a lot of the speculation too, that some of these drones that hover over battleships, that these are Chinese drones, and that they're not UFOs.
They could be also.
There's some super sophisticated.
But I did interview, let's say 3 or 4 guys that,
and this is before they
and without
drones.
Tremendous interest.
Yeah,
if you had them. As I said, you'd love to have them as your children. Solid, beautiful people. They said, sir, there's something there.
There's something there.
Said it, yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to quite a few of them.
They're not conspiracy guys.
Well, I mean, just the Commander David Fravor thing in 2004 off the coast of San Diego, they clocked that thing going from 50,000 feet above sea level to 50 in a second.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is.
That's tough to beat.
Yeah, they saw something in the water. It was hovering over that something that was making a disturbance in the water. They got video evidence of this thing. 2 different fighter jets with pilots in them saw it. There's, visual evidence, photographic evidence, video evidence, radar evidence. Whatever the hell it is, it moves in a way that would turn a human being into jello if they were inside of it. The G-force, no one would survive.
Oh,
so what is that? And it doesn't have a heat signature. They don't know what their propulsion system was. But
when you fly in some of these jets, these pilots have to be in great shape.
Oh, yeah. I flew with the Blue Angels once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to fly. I guess it's an F/A-18.
And those are older machines.
And they're crazy.
When you fly in some of these things,
oh my God,
amazing. Yeah, but
I can imagine.
You got to be special.
You got to be special.
Trump trying to flex. So that was a little, but a lot. I don't know how much the president can actually say. Could he be playing dumb? Maybe he knows more than he does. Is trying to put off.
Maybe, and then of course, are they gonna even reveal anything to him, or are they just gonna keep their lips shut for 4 years?
yeah, exactly. But and I thought that was cool. I like to think that he does know more than what he's putting off, and that he knows some secret files. I don't know why he keeps mentioning that he knows so much. He's like, I know a lot.
He won't give details.
Is that just Trump speak, or does he really know a lot?
Oof,
I would think that
clear.
because the way that the government kind of reacted to Trump's becoming the first president when he got elected the first time, it's like they wanted to hide information from him, you know.
Mm.
So do you think they would actually tell him about the top secret alien stuff? Like,
Yeah, I mean, he's had like what 3 different assassination attempts on him, and he miraculously survived. But I don't think you can fake something like that. Um, on that note, I actually got something to show here. I got my screen shared.
let's see what you got.
So this was happening. Here, I'll turn it down. This was happening earlier today. 5,000 troops were deployed. It seems a little excessive. It's kind of funny. It's all corners of Washington D.C. had all different branches of the military just marching on patrol. And it's funny, like they had full on parades, but there's no one on the street to watch the parade, so they're just having like these parades for themselves, basically. But he's not messing around. I mean, like, you're not getting past that security. An entire army of 5,000 troops. um, yeah, just skimming through here is showing like all over the place. There's an ad.
Oh,
Well, I got a clip pulled up from the rally last night. He makes another promise. He promises they'll expose. He'll do everything he can to expose the mystery behind the JFK assassination, Martin Luther King. And here, I'll just play a little clip here.
You know that old story. Let's do it later. Then it never gets done. No, we're doing them tomorrow. And we'll have plenty to sign in the future. Don't worry about it. It's not going to stop. But we're going to stop the destructive and divisive diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates all across the government and private sector and return our country to the merit system. You know, the Supreme Court ruled that the United States is allowed to go by the merit system, which is what made us great in the first place. That was a big ruling that a lot of people don't even know about, but it was a big, tremendous ruling. And you're focusing on character, competence, and qualifications in all hiring decisions. Now you're allowed to go by competence and ability and genius. You don't have to hire somebody to send up one of his rocket ships that doesn't know anything about what's happening. As a first step toward restoring transparency and accountability to government, we will also reverse the overclassification of government documents, and in the coming days, we are going to make public remaining records relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, as well as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and other topics of great public interest. It's all going to be released, Uncle Sam.
So that last bit was what I meant to play, but yeah, I hope he's able to actually pull through with that, because that's going to be great. Then of course Elon Musk. Little meme there. You know, there's a range.
Meme. That sounds so funny. Yeah.
And
I'll text you call later.
Speaking of memes, I just had to share this. There's all kinds of hilarious memes about this. What we covered yesterday, the egg UAP. This is a guy dropping some string with a chicken egg over some carpet, and it looks like identical. There's a bunch of people doing this. It's pretty funny. I'm still in the boat that I don't see why not. You know, like, it could be easily faked, but looking deeper into everything surrounding the guy that actually made this claim, and then all the people advocating for him. I mean, he was where he was supposed to be at the time, you know, special operations, Air Force pilot, highly trained, flying helicopters to and fro, picking up packages, working in that area in the range around California and New Mexico and the Four Corners states and all that. So kind of adds up. I have here also a few little clips I took from a follow-up video this Ross Coulthart guy did. He has on here retired Admiral Tim Gallaudet. I believe that's this man on the left, and then this guy on the right is
Gallaudet on the far left. Yeah.
Gallaudet, and former Defense Department official Merrick von Rennenkampf. And this whole
Oh,
video was
he's from the Antarctic base.
yeah, he's right from that Antarctic base. And this whole video was pretty interesting. They talk about some cool stuff, but I'll play this little clip here.
The thing that's always fascinated me about this is Donald Rumsfeld, literally one day before 9/11, reveals, I think there's a 2 or 3 trillion, I've forgotten the exact number, $2 or $3 trillion unaccounted for inside the Department of Defense. And auditors basically can't explain that incredible amount of money. The implications that I'm hearing from many, many people is that there are underground facilities that have been built to house these facilities. I even know the locations of some of them. I've been exploring witnesses who've told me that they've been inside those facilities. I'm very interested in hearing from people who are aware of those facilities, and the government needs to know that this is being talked about. So if this is important national security infrastructure, they have to provide a very good reason very, very quickly for why the public shouldn't be told this. Because I know a lot of people out there in UFO social media world, they think everything should just be recklessly released, and they think there should be catastrophic disclosure, full speed ahead and damn the torpedoes. I don't agree with that. I've got friends who've been injured in service because of information getting out and being
that's basically the gist of the clip. It's that was kind of wild to me. Like, he basically says the day before 9/11, trillions of dollars go unaccounted for. And then sure enough, all throughout the early 2000s, you get those videos of people recording the skies, saying strange noises in the sky, and it's a little unexplained, but then all of a sudden I see footage of these massive tunnel boring machines making that exact metallic roaring sound. So that could have been what people were hearing all across the country was tunnel boring machines drilling underground, making this interconnected network of deep underground military bunkers. And so what are they doing all that for, you know? Like he said, there's got to be a good reason why they're putting this much money into building deep underground military bases.
Breaking news from Captain Kirk in the chat. 10,000 rounds of 50 caliber ammunition was stopped crossing the Arizona border yesterday. It's, you know, some guy honest guy just trying to make a buck.
Interesting.
So you got another clip or what?
I do actually. Yeah, here. Are you still got my stream up?
No, reshare. Oh yeah, I got it. I should have it.
Okay. So I got 2 more clips here. This was he has another guy on. I forget his name. Oh no. Oh, Dr. Jim Segala, PhD. I guess he's done a few things. He's done experiments with trying to prove in cells that there can be a quantum connection between cells, in spite of putting a cell in a Faraday cage, by keeping the cells together so they have some kind of link and separating them and they can still communicate. And he's trying to prove that through quantum entanglement, psychic connections could be possible. And this was basically they're trying to add support to that whistleblower's claims that there could be a psychic connection involved with UAPs and all that, which I thought was pretty interesting. But I got 2 little clips here that were pretty interesting. I'll go ahead and play this.
Can you talk at all to the science that might be behind how the human brain, human consciousness, could possibly engage, if it's real, a non-human intelligence of some kind?
Sure, we have. I mean, if you think of what our brain is, it is like a big ion moving machine where you have all these ions. What ions are is these charged particles that move through your body, and anytime you have a charged,
so that was an interesting description of the brain. He says the brain is basically filled with ions, which are charged particles. I had really heard a description of the brain like that, but that's a pretty cool way of looking at it.
Yeah, have you heard of biophotons?
Biophotons. You talking about visualizations in the third eye?
No, that cells actually emit a type of light that is not heat radiation. It's actually photonic radiation. It's specifically different than just what you see under like heat vision. Um, they're called biophotons or biophotonic fields, and it's coherent light that cells emit. And this could be a way that cells
Interesting.
communicate across gradients and
Okay.
grid
Yeah, like
structures, I guess you could say.
like bioelectric fields, we all have this field emanating around us, and it is actually an observable effect. That's pretty
Yep.
dang cool.
What's
It
up,
could be
Nebby?
affected by outside sources. But what's interesting, a charged particle, these particles could be entangled with other particles that might not be local to them. It might be outside of their head. It might be on the other side of the earth. But we know for a fact that things like that, these particles get entangled. So if you have a neuron and that neuron happens to fire, and that maybe that neuron fires and it says, "Oh, you're looking at a flower right now," but that neuron is attached to or entangled with somebody else that has a different feeling or an entity that might be able to control that. They have this like initial blast to you. You might say, "Oh, look at that flower," but there's no flower there. So there's this entanglement going on
Damn.
between neurons and brains and all of these ions that are flowing in your head.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
That's wild. That's exactly what we talk about in every episode. The Keys of Enoch talks about that. Like we were talking about the last live stream, like when I hold an image in my mind, you hold an image in your mind, telepathy, that data transmission over a distance, quantum entanglement.
I guess what I have difficulty with.
And I'll just say on that note, there are experiments which John Keeley was messing around with in the 1860s, but with sympathetic vibration, where if you have a tuning fork set to, let's just say, a C note, and you got another tuning fork set to a C note over here, you strike this tuning fork, the compression and rarefaction of the air forms these waves, and those waves travel and are picked up by the other tuning fork. That tuning fork, because it's tuned to the same frequency, will also start vibrating instantly. And so it's interesting because that tuning fork
Uh-oh. Think I lost you. Is it me or you? I'm not sure. Well, chat. You guys see Magma still?
these
Yeah, I think Magma lagged out. There he is. You're back.
Oh, did you get that last part?
No, I think we missed it.
Did you hear about the tuning forks?
I heard the tuning forks, yeah. Yeah, I only missed the past like 5-10 seconds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all I'm saying is like if our brain is like a Tesla coil and our spine is like an antenna, our entire electric nervous system is like a radio transmitter and receiver, then it would make sense. I mean, even our DNA, there's studies that show our ribosomes in our DNA are coiled like little RF transmitters. So if it's possible for us to actually utilize our bioelectric field to send out signals, and maybe we're on the same frequency with someone else or even an object, uh, maybe you can interact with that telepathically. I mean, it's kind of interesting to speculate what kind of science might be able to back that up.
And we got an episode coming out soon that talks about the science that may be able to back that up.
Ooh.
So, real quick, we're already going on like an hour 15. I say we wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Dave Chappelle, wrap it up. I did want to talk about the egg for a little bit, but I think we'll do it next episode. Nebby, we did do a big breakdown of the egg. It's our last live stream. Just go check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So we deep dive into it. We analyze it through the UB perspective. I did want to bring up a relevant story. Remember I said like an egg story that from like the 60s or 70s? I couldn't bring it up. I couldn't remember what the name was, but I figured it out today. It's Lonnie Zamora. It was in 1964 in Socorro, New Mexico. Lonnie Zamora said he saw two people by a shiny object that later rose into the air, accompanied by a roaring blue and orange flame. Zamora's claims were subject to attention from news media, UFO investigators, UFO organizations, and even the original Project Blue Book. And it was listed as an unknown case. So it didn't get debunked.
Interesting.
I don't know if you're watching
cool.
the live stream. Are you looking at the picture of the egg?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad you actually have a well-documented incident, because I've heard of other egg-shaped UFO sightings, but I didn't have any concrete stories about it.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring this up because it is a connecting thing. I wish I had this pulled up when we were doing a deep dive. I don't think we're going to dive into it right now. Maybe if we do want to do a follow-up episode on the Jake Barber incident, we can bring this up more, but I don't think we're going to dive into Lonnie Zamora at the moment. Maybe we can do a standalone episode and bring up all the other incidents where there are egg-shaped UAPs, and we can, reconnect it back to the Jake Barber story. So,
yeah.
Other than that, I'm pretty much done.
All right. I got one more clip to show, and then I've exhausted my resources for this episode.
Yeah, we'll call it a night. Monday night. Just wanted to bring some attention to the fact that Trump said he's going to disclose, and he's actually, in the first couple seconds in the Oval Office, mentions to one of his secretaries, say, hey, we need to figure out what's going on in New Jersey. Let's figure that out right now. So that's a big deal. Let's see what's going to come of it, and let's see if there's more disclosure will come from that. No big deal, John C. Truth. This was an emergency broadcast. We just did a little Monday special. Yeah. We really went down the conspiracy rabbit hole. So you can watch it when it posts, but we'll be back this Sunday for sure.
We'll be back.
What you got, Bagwell? You got your screen shared?
Yeah, I got this last clip pulled up here. This was another interesting moment from that interview. Are you good on your end?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
The US Air Force never stopped operating the Stargate program. I mean, you talked about Hal Puthoff there. I mean, of course, one of our friends, Hal, was long ago in the 1970s through SRI involved in groundbreaking research with people like Uri Geller.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Looking at the whole issue of telepathy and psychic phenomena. My understanding is that, and of course this has been made into a Hollywood movie, the George Clooney movie, The Men Who Stare at Goats.
Yes.
My understanding is that the whole thing was poo-pooed and played down. But what really shocked me when I started doing the background research for this story, I looked at the history of the CIA's Stargate program. And even presidents at the time, President Carter, for example, were acknowledging that there had been successful use of things like remote viewing technology to assist in the recovery of an aircraft in one case. It does appear that while you've got the official position in modern science is that telepathy, psychic phenomena, that kind of non-local engagement of the human mind with something external, it's dismissed as nonsense. And yet it's quite clear, if you look at the succession of documents in the CIA archive, they've continued that research over many, many years. They never stopped. Is this something you're familiar with? What do you know about the whole science of the idea that the human brain could possibly engage with something outside of the human brain other than just normal verbal or written communication?
So ironically, I worked for Hal in his institute in Austin for 11 years. And one of the experiments that he asked me to do was he said if I took two sentient objects and I separate them, and I'm sorry, if I took two sentient objects and I had them together for a little while and then I separated them and I convinced the other ones that there is no physical connection. Like I put them in a Faraday cage, I put a barrier, and I do something sinister to one of them, will the other one react? Or if I do something really nice to one of them, will the other one react? So we took epithalamus cells and we put them together and they let them entangle, separated them, and maybe we put a little some Clorox or something bad into one of them. And after enough trials, we found out that we can get two cells to communicate through a barrier, through either a Faraday cage, meaning that there's no electromagnetic signals, or we had them enclosed so there's no chemical signal, no fermions or anything. But we got them to communicate. We had enough statistics to show that there was actually a communication.
That's pretty freaking
That's insane,
fascinating,
dude. That's crazy. That's defies everything.
Yeah,
Good, cool.
I just
you save that clip. Save that clip.
all right. Yeah, I just had to share that because that was a pretty cool experiment to show. I mean, they put a cell in a freaking Faraday cage, so there couldn't even be. I mean, obviously, cells you wouldn't think they could communicate at any kind of distance because I always thought it was chemical exchange between the cells. But putting a cell in a freaking Faraday cage and watching it react to another cell, whether it's positive or negative, that's some compelling evidence right there. And that's
Oh
really
yeah.
all I had.
Yeah, that reminds me of that field of what's it called, like biomorphogenics or biomorphics. I forget what it's called. So, somebody in the chat will correct me, but it's like the 100th monkey experiment, or like
Oh, that
they
yeah.
yeah, like, or morphic resonance. I think that might be what it's called.
That sounds
Morphic
right.
resonance.
Morphic resonance, yeah.
That like you'll get a bunch of rats on one side of the world, and you'll give them a bunch of different hard obstacles to try to figure it out. The rats aren't able to actually figure out the maze, and then the humans teach the rats how to figure out the maze to get the prize. And at the same time this is happening, they have another set of rats on the other side of the world, but they don't teach that set of rats how to figure out the prize, exact same maze. But once they teach one set of mice how to figure out and get the prize, figure out the secret way to get through the maze, all of a sudden the same mice going through the same maze on the other side of the world figure out how to get through the maze without getting taught.
That's
So it
fascinating.
kind of
That's
shows, some interesting.
I've heard of that experiment being done a few times, like with chimpanzees and stuff, and like
Yeah.
one group learns some and the other group finds out, and that could explain why like stuff like the radio is invented independently by different inventors across the world at the exact same time. They're racing to the
Isn't
patent
that
office
weird?
all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, a bunch of different inventions, all the same inventions get invented at the same time around the
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
Now, speaking of some Urantia history, one of the funders of the Urantia book, the most interesting man in the world, adventurer Sir Hubert Wilkins, him and this other guy who was a member of the Urantia Forum, Harold Sherman, they actually did an experiment while Sir Hubert Wilkins was out on his flights across the Antarctic and all that, on his adventures. They would, for a period of time, try to connect, like share dreams, exchange notes telepathically, and whenever they thought they were having some connection, they would write it down. Then they would get back together, share notes, and be like, hey, every now and then we actually exchanged thoughts. So they wrote a book called Thoughts Through Space, a dramatic ESP adventure. I think it was finally published in 1975. I think by Harold Sherman, because I know Sir Hubert Wilkins was dead by then. But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, sounds like a compelling title. Go check that out. Link won't probably be in the description, but
No.
I think we could call it quits and
yes.
Everybody have a happy Monday night. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Again, if you're not a subscriber and you find yourself watching this, subscribe to the channel. I hope you like what we're talking about. But of course, if you hate what we're talking about, still hit that subscribe button so that you can show your friends how dumb we are. You know, leave a comment, leave the hate, leave the love. Doesn't really matter because no matter what, we're going to take over the planet. If you want to join forces,
it's inevitable.
Join the Discord, hit us up. You can message me directly on Instagram, obviously. Instagram is in the descriptions. Donald Trump is the new president. Will he disclose the UFOs? Will he disclose the UAPs? Will he drain the swamp and get the Illuminati pedophiles out of the offices? Release the Epstein list? Tell us who killed JFK and MLK? Happy Martin Luther King Day to all my brothers and sisters out there.
Come on, Trump, give us all those juicy details of Diddy and the Hollywood Babylon culture.
Or is he going to flop, not deliver, just like the rest of the presidents? What else is new? Is he himself part of the deep state? Ha ha ha. We don't know, but we do know he said more spicy stuff than what we dared to even touch on. So that was great. As an American, shout out to the rest of the world. We love you guys. Doesn't matter what state you are. Doesn't matter what ethnic, creed, state, territory, ideology you belong to. We all brothers and sisters. We are all one species on planet Earth, and if we work together, we can make this place a better place. Don't let the people talk that crap to make you all divisive and separate and isolate yourself from your brother and sister. We have more in common than we have that makes us different and makes us alien. I don't want to say alien because aliens are cool, but you know, if you like what I'm talking again, subscribe. Legacy FHB, Debate the Wise, Magma Sloth. Thank you for listening. It's been a Planetary Headquarters emergency broadcast. Go buy a shirt. Bye.
Stay subscribed. We'll continue feeding you our wildest thoughts and research and findings. Peace out.
Breaking news: Trump is a UAP.